I'm back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Raptors. I'm your host, Estecham, my channel where you get reviews, analysis, predictions, and hot takes on all things Raptors as well as some NBA, which I haven't done. But again, if some news comes over that, then I'll do it. Anyways, the Raptors had one game yesterday against the Boston Celtics and one game today. Yesterday's game was a shit fest, so I didn't bother analyzing it. But today's game, I have some key takeaways overall from what the Raptors are doing and what they can improve on. So without a further ado, let's talk Raptors versus Philadelphia and overall, what the Raptors can improve on or are doing well. So, man, history repeats itself, and I feel bad for Philadelphia, and I'll tell you guys exactly why. So this game is going back and forth, and eventually Raptors take over in the third quarter. They get a lead going, and then the Philadelphia comes back. Maxi's doing damn well. Everybody on the Raptors is, Freddie VanVleet is going off. He had 32 points by the end of this game. Scotty Barnes is doing well. Chris Boucher is finally coming back to his normal self. He's blocking shots. He's scoring some points. And everything is going well. And then eventually by the 3-minute mark, the Raptors just go cold. And Philadelphia, inches back into the game. And eventually, I think there's like a minute, 40 seconds left, and Philadelphia takes the lead. It's 109-108. And 109-107. And what happens is Nick Nurse calls a timeout, come out with a play where Gary Trent Jr. is on top of the three-point line, straight in front of the basket. It's a pick and roll, so Achua sets the screen and then rolls to the basket. Gary Trent passes it to him. Achua gets to the bucket, and it's a block by Andre Drummond, and eventually, what's his name? Doc Rivers reviews it. They win the review, but because the ball was loose, they get to jump ball in the middle of the court. I will get to that damn block later on. Precious Achua wins it, and that's when history repeats itself. So Freddie brings the ball up the court, gives it to OG. OG drives to the basket, shoots it out to the top of the screen, corner, and it's just basically Gary Trent taking the same quiet type of just shot, but from the 3-point line. And instead of it bouncing around 10 times, it goes swish right in the net, and the Raptors are up by 1 point. And then it goes to the other side. Great defense played by everybody. And then I think OG got a steal there. And So, they're trying to get to the bucket, and eventually the Raptors grab a rebound. The Raptors come down the floor, give the ball to OG again, and then OG drives to the basket, and this time he finds Freddie on the other side. And Freddie nails a three-pointer, which actually rolls around and goes in. So the Raptors are now up by 4, and eventually free throw bullshit goes on. And the Raptors win this game 115-109. And damn, it was an exciting game. But Philadelphia had a replay because Gary Trent's shot was so similar to Kawhi Leonard. Anyways, guys, that's basically a replay of what the game was on. But the key takeaways, let me start with the positives. The positive I'm seeing is consistency from Scotty Barnes. When he wants to be aggressive and when he wants to get to the bucket or when he wants to take a mid-range and he has that rhythm going, he is looking damn good, man. He is probably going to be the rookie of the year unless the American media just decides to give it to somebody else or the coaches decide to give it to somebody else. But he is in that running and is consistent. The second thing I think the Raptors have consistently is their defense. Even yesterday, their offense wasn't working, but the Raptors' defense is keeping them in these games. The Raptors are limiting teams that put up like 110, 115 to like 100 points, man, at times, unless they're just giving up, right? And that's something like there's constant turnovers. They're averaging possibly turning teams over like 15 times. There's deflections, they're doing good on the offensive as well as the defensive glass, but there's some things that need to improve on those aspects, and I'll get to that. The third positive that I saw from the Raptors is that, they are playing as a team. They're not, hanging their heads, blaming each other. They're always backing each other up. There's cheer, there's happiness on that bench, even when people aren't getting minutes. So that's a good thing to see. It says that the Raptors are going to do well as a unit once they, gel even longer, once they're playing together for a longer period of time. And eventually that does contribute to winning in the end. But, there's some things that are concerning about the Raptors. Number one is their energy. Throughout all of the games that I've seen, which is all of them, the Raptors, whenever they don't have the energy, they just don't have it. Even if they have it, like they'll have it on one side of the one end of the court, for example, on defense, or either on the offense. And that ends up costing the Raptors because usually when they don't have this energy, they're not making shots, and they're just, the game just slows down too much for the Raptors to be able to recover because our half court offense is not as good. And that's what exactly happened to us yesterday. It slowed down because we weren't making shots, our energy was low, and it just turned to a shitfest for the Raptors. The second concern I see from the Raptors, or the key takeaway I see, is that the Raptors are struggling with their three-point shot. And when the Raptors are able to make their three-point shots consistently, by consistent I mean like around 35 to 40%, or even 33 to 40%, the Raptors will win those games because the Raptors defense is so good. Where they're losing it is on the three-point side, where they can't seem to make open three-point shots that they should be making. Like yesterday, let me see what they had. 6 for 25, man. That was horrible. And today they shot, I think it's 42%. So they ended up winning that game. See how it works? 3 points, 2 points. Gives 3 points also give you that ability to be able to get to the bucket because they're going to end up defending your 3-point line because they know you're making those shots. When you're not making those shots, you're not going to have the paint open for you to be able to drive, and a lot of our guys need that, like OG, Scotty Barnes, Precious Achiuwa, and Chris Boucher. All those guys need that in order to succeed. The third key takeaway or weakness I'm seeing is Precious Achiuwa. And I don't like to blame players, but I think he is too raw at this time. He had a great summer league, but he's consistently been one of those guys. When the ball comes into his hand, you feel scared because either he's going to go up completely stupid, not finish, or make a dumb play, get a charge against him. Any of those things. He doesn't tend to assist the ball. It's like just tunnel vision for him, going, straight to the bucket. And I get Nick Nurse wants him to handle the ball, but I think he needs to, tell him the same thing he told Chris Boucher when Chris Boucher was here. Your first priority should be playing defense, rebounding the ball, and basically, getting your buckets, doing the dirty work. And then once you get that, then you get a little bit more of the role on the offense. Whereas Precious is just doing things that, are hurting the team. Like he's turning the ball over at the wrong times. He's, there's a person standing on the fast break. There's a person standing on the corner, and he's still driving straight into the bucket, missing, like getting a charge against him, having 2 defenders on him, and it's just not working out. And that kind of leads into that point that I really, really wanted to make, was that, the Raptors are in the need of a center. They did a good job on Andre Drummond today in the sense of not letting him get too out of control. But the Raptors do need a center in addition to Khem Birch that can hang with these big boys and just do the dirty work. Like, like a guy like Mason Plumlee and those guys that don't need the offense, because the Raptors having too many offensive people at, when Pascal was starting, they have too many options and it gets confusing. Whereas if you have 1 or 2 guys that are in your starting lineup that are just doing the dirty work, especially just on the center position, then everybody else knows that, we don't have to share the ball with him. We can just get our own going. So that's something I've noticed that the Raptors need to improve on, is having somebody who can, if it means Khem Birch needs to start and then Chris Boucher needs to get more minutes, that's exactly what needs to happen in order for the Raptors to be more competitive at the center position. And it's kind of hurting us. It hurt us yesterday again. Al Horford took everybody to class because we didn't have Khem Birch to body him up. And you're actually sacrificing OG Anunoby's offense by having him exhausted by, defending all of these big dudes. So guys, that's what I have for all of the key takeaways that I've seen from the Raptors, as well as the things that they're doing well and they've been doing consistent, and that's led to some of the wins. My prediction for the Raptors on Saturday against Detroit is we win that game 120 to 102. The Raptors blow out Detroit because Scotty Barnes goes after number 1 pick Cade Cunningham. and the Raptors go on the road with a winning streak of 2. The MVP of this game, all of the guys played well, but Freddie gets it because he had 32 points, I think 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and he shot efficiently for once in that, in a close game. Anyways, guys, that's all for you guys. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you guys after the Saturday game. Have a good night.